Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer. I'm recording this at kind of a weird time. It's like almost 6 p.m. and the lighting in my apartment is not the greatest at this time. I cranked this and I've got my other one over here, just pointing it more directly at me. But, listen, I promise I go outside. I know it doesn't look like it when all this light is on me, but I walk to the gym a mile there and a mile back. It's been pretty gloomy in California, but oh man, just so pale. It's scary to look at. Q&A, we're going to get started with that in a second. First and foremost, though, if you missed the announcement video, I started a second channel, and I'm not going to go into all the particulars, but essentially non-Final Fantasy content is going to be going over there, while Final Fantasy-focused content will be staying here. As such, as part of my weekly Q&A, I'm going to quickly include the types of videos that are available on that channel and encourage you to, well, go support that one as well if it's of a topic you're interested in. Aloha. Aloha's been a little unruly today, so if you see me dealing with him or if he makes some more guest appearances, I'm not sure if you can hear him because I have the filter on, but I'm reaching down to give him some pets because he's been very, very unruly today. But that being said, yeah, so right now I'm focusing on some Grand Blue stuff for the first few videos on that channel. I did a ranking of the demo. Ow, Aloha, your paws are sharp. Listen, I'm already petting you. What are you begging me for? So what's it called? Yeah. So Grand Blue, I ranked the demo characters, for example. So if you're planning on playing Grand Blue Relink, I'm going to be streaming that starting Sunday on PlayStation, then swapping to PC on February 1st. And I also recorded a video that will probably be up by the time I post this. In fact, it will for certain be up by the time I post this, of me going through all of the Grand Blue cast, not for Relink, for the gacha, and just giving like a quick glance over of the characters, maybe like a sentence about them, and judging whether or not I like the character based on that alone. So without any story implications or whatever. So very much design focused. Aloha, stop. It's being so annoying right now. Yeah, so that's going to be another video, and then I'm going to do videos throughout the week on that. I'm also probably planning a couple of other things, but that's going to be for week number 1. Excuse me. Trying to pay attention to all this stuff. And Aloha, like I said, being relatively unruly, and Ivy looks like she wants to get in on the fun. So that's what's going to be the first week of content approximately. It's going to be a lot of Grand Blue focused stuff. As for this channel, I have my overview / I guess kind of review of Endwalker, my thoughts on everything piece by piece, about 90 seconds on each major facet of the expansion. And we're going to still be cranking out a bunch of stuff for Endwalker on this channel. So you don't have to worry about anything not happening on this channel because I'm working on stuff on the other channel. With that though, let's get into the Q&A. Aloha made me drag this on a little bit longer than I wanted to because I kept losing my train of thought. First of all, thanks to the sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. Nobody has to support. All my content's free. I have no intention of locking it behind memberships or anything like that. So appreciate anyone who supports in any way they can, including just watching this video, asking a question for next week in the comment section. And there's also a $50, I think it's called Super Chats. I always forget what it's called on YouTube, but essentially a $50 tip on last week's video that just says, appreciate the hard work as always, and extra props for the solid jawline. Looking good, my man. Taking care of physical health isn't easy in this day and age. Easier for me than you'd think, since before I did content creation, I was a fit head. I wouldn't go so far as say a meathead because I wasn't like pumping mad iron, but I was in the gym a lot and, you know, being very conscious of things. Look at this. I put a box for him, and instead of going in the box, he jumps on the box. What are you doing? Yes. He has no idea what he's doing. I can't do anything with this cat. He's just, like I said, he's unruly today. But thank you for that $50 tip. That's a lot for just like a weekly Q&A video, but appreciate it a lot. So yeah, with that, let's get on to the Q&A. All right, after scrolling through about 7 comments being like, nice jawline. I feel like they saw the tip and they were like, you know what? He's right. Nice jawline. Let's all compliment him on that. Hey, thank you. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi, hope you're doing well. I'd say I'm doing all right. I'm so hyped for the 14-16 collab. I know it's not going to be massive content, but my nostalgia is making me remember the 14-13 collab with Lightning. So anything that makes you nostalgic from the early years, can't believe how quick a decade has gone, but keep doing what you're doing and making the realm happier, one video at a time. I'll do my best. You know, actually, no, there isn't much that makes me specifically nostalgic for the early days of Final Fantasy XIV. There are bits and pieces that I like to make note of being, I guess, important to change for the game going forward, whether they be simple things like, being able to recharge our cooldowns every time we wipe versus, them shifting from the ultra hard content of Gordius into the more approachable raid content of Creator. I also like to think how crafting and gathering has changed over the years, even though my interest in it has waned because it's just not a major interest point for me, no matter what, even back then. But like, I more so in my head think of like when I encounter a modern quality of life or a modern design decision, I sometimes just get flashed back to the way they were before they were changed, or systems that were in the game that are no longer really supported by the game. So that's really the thing. There's not like one thing though that makes me nostalgic for the early years, because I'm always thinking about the next thing, especially in content creation. I can't worry too much about what came before outside of the videos that I made for the retrospective. So I don't have a good answer for this, but I tend to appreciate quality of life when the opportunity comes around, because I was around when things weren't the way that they are now. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey there. Hi. Talking with a few buddies about jobs and Jawn Trail made me realize I'm actually most excited for the Astrologian rework than anything. Excited is certainly a word for it. Afraid is another one. One of those crazies that loved the original card system, and after taking a several year break from 4.1 to 5.3, Shadowbringers Astro was to me offensively gutted and felt so choppy. Then I'm shocked you're excited, because it's not like it's going to go back to that. My question then is, looking at other recent reworks of the jobs, do you have any theories on how Screeners could implement Astro's game flow? And I know Heavensward Complexity is never coming back, but I never played other reworks like Summoner, Monk, or Paladin. Personally, I think they're going to lean further into its more time-magey aspects and put a lot of the card system behind it. Now, here's the thing. The card system can never go all the way. It's integral to the job's lore. It would be ridiculous if it was gone in its entirety. But making it not such a dominant aspect of the job's gameplay, I think, is going to be the goal. I think you'll still maybe be searching for the different signs, so similar to what you do now for Astrodyne. But I think they're going to simplify that, or simplify the ability to play them. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if all the cards went down to being a 1% damage buff that you give to your team, and all you're doing is searching for the signs themselves. I honestly think that's what's going to happen when they're going to simplify Astro's game flow. But I'm hoping in exchange for that, we see some of the more time-magey aspects that Astro has had. They lost some of them from back in the day. They used to extend all the buffs and everything, and I loved that aspect about them. Honestly, even Celestial, was it Celestial Opposition? I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Celestial Opposition, where it was an AoE stun and buff extension. It was like, that's very time focused, because the stun is akin to like a time stop, but then the extension of everyone else buffs it. And then now we have like the time stuff where, after X amount of seconds, the shield ability becomes a heal, or you have things like Macrocosmos. And I think they could dive really deep into that while making the cards kind of just exist. And I think they're just going to make the cards exist. Whether or not they go with the time magi aspects, I'm not sure, but that's kind of in my head what makes the most sense seeing them do. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Haps. Hi. XIV, or 14. I still do that. Call it XIV. Whatever. Obviously is focused on entirely linear and vertical progression, but I feel we're starting to see the limits of that in Endwalker, with jobs like Dragoon needing to be reworked because they can't go anywhere with it, and us already approaching a second stat squish. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't squish the stats more. They didn't squish them nearly enough. I agree. There's no room for infinite growth, so do you think in the possibly near future they'll add some form of horizontal progression? And if so, how do you think they're going to do it? The answer is no. That's it. I hate to burst your bubble. The answer is no. The answer will constantly be to revisit what's there, retune it so it feels new, and go vertical. Here's the thing. I would like them to at least look into more gearing options, especially because we have more and more jobs. They shouldn't be afraid to add more gear or add activities that can reward decent gear for more jobs, even if there's some other limitation to it, like how frequently you can earn from it. If I can only get one piece of loot weekly from, let's say, Criterion, if they add it to that, and I can get one piece, or I'm sorry, I can only, one piece, whatever, for Criterion, for what it is, yeah, sure, one piece per week. And then in Savage, I only get the one lockout per week, or, whatever the system is. But having more activities that let me get to that for me is more valuable, because sometimes I genuinely don't care about BIS. Sometimes I have alt jobs. I just want the item level on it without having to wait for tomes to be able to do some piece of content to earn something, even if it's not the best. So I think I think horizontal in the sense that more activities to earn gear, sure. Horizontal in like Final Fantasy 11 or Guild Wars or something like that, no, they're not going to do it. It just won't happen. They're too deep. They're too deep in the philosophy. How would you recommend for someone who's lived a sedentary lifestyle all their life to get into being more active, to not ask someone and just do it? Because every time you stop, like, okay, I'll give you a great example. This question was asked 5 days ago. In those 5 days, could you not have just gotten up and walked around the place you live? Go on around the block or done anything at all? You could have. And, you know, it's kind of a harsh truth, but it is also a truth. Asking everyone what you should do versus doing the most basic things first. Walk. Don't have to run. Don't have to jog. Don't have to do jumping jacks. Don't have to do sit-ups, push-ups. Just walk. Just start walking. Get your body used to that. And then from there go, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. Let me research this. It's all about just motion. That's it. Motion more than anything. Because even at a desk, I mean, you could get a standing desk. You could get one of those little treadmills for your desk, you know, or just a little tiny, like, you know, under desk treadmill that even you could just walk on. You don't even have to put it under your desk or anything like that. But you can do little things like that, or just, you know, get up and walk around versus, you know, waiting 5 days for me to answer that. You know, it's just about initiative. If you're thinking of it, stop thinking and do, because you're only going to find ways to convince yourself out of it. And trust me, because I've done that a million times before I finally went back, because I did a lot of physical fitness stuff before I started doing this. And every time I started doing it again while I was doing this, I would always find a reason. New content patch would come out. You know, I got to make this video, that video. I don't have time for it today. Instead of making that the secondary thing, I just finally went like, okay, I have to make a change. I'm going to do it. I didn't wait for a Monday. I didn't wait for the first day of the next month. I didn't wait for a new year. I just said, you know what? I want to do it. So tomorrow I'm going to start doing it. And that's it. You just got to pull the trigger on it. That's all it is. I see we have a hashtag with no hello. Unfortunate. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Where do you think Final Fantasy 11 will be in 10 years? Will it still have the sub? Will it still be getting content? You know, I'd love to act like I could say anything in confidence, but that game's been trying to off itself for the last decade, and it's failed pretty horribly at doing that. They're like, yeah, no, we're done with it. By the way, let's just release Seekers Rhapsodies. No, we're done with Rhapsodies. We're not done. Let's do Voracious Resurgence. It's like they just keep saying they're done, and then they take a break, and then they just go like for a year and a half and do something new. I think they may really be looking at archiving it for the future. Honestly, I want a single player Final Fantasy 11. Like, don't get me wrong, the MMO's there, and, you know, no matter what anyone happens, like, people will keep it alive. People already, you know, make private servers for that, and who knows, maybe Square will do something like what is it, City of Heroes did, where they officially, like, okayed it, you know? Maybe they would do that at some point. Who knows? I doubt it, but, you know, whatever. But honestly, in 10 years, it'll be lucky to be around. They're trying to make it so it essentially costs nothing to run right now. And if they're successful, then honestly, it'll still be there whether or not it gets new content. They'll just leave it up. But I don't know. I wish I could say anything in confidence, but it's impossible to tell with how that game has gone over the last 10 years. Hashtag Lunas con el Señor Feliz. That's Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hola, Señor Feliz. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Gracias. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing all right. You doing all right? Well, I guess I just said I'm doing This episode, last week, you mentioned having some noise cancellation enabled, and that's why we couldn't hear Aloha. My question is, do you have or use anything special to make your mic block out noise while also making it sound so good? Is it software, hardware? Is it a mic thing? Well, I'm glad you asked. Fortunately, this channel is sponsored by SteelSeries, which provides you all sorts of peripherals for your PC, keyboards, mice, and of course, microphones. Now, this is not a SteelSeries microphone. This is the Elgato Wave 3. That being said, what is being used is the Sonar application that is available for free on the SteelSeries website. It works with any audio device and has all sorts of fine tools that you can use regardless of audio device. So even if you don't plan on buying SteelSeries and saving 12% with my discount code, which is available year-round, mind you, and in the description of most YouTube videos, you can download that application for free and take whatever microphone you do have and try to make it sound a little bit better. Hopefully, that was awesome for you. And yes, I've done that a million times, hence why I was able to wing it, even in the middle of a recording. So, and I'm also looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2. Hello, hashtag Mr. Happy. That's a new one. Never seen that. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right, other than Aloha, who's, oh no, now it's Ivy. I heard a cat meow at me, and now it's the other one now. There we go. In the previous Monday's Q&A, someone asked what you thought of 14's legacy, or what 14's legacy would be in the future of the series, aka what sort of thing you think future Final Fantasies could pull from. What do you think will be that for 16? So, I'm wondering more if 16 sets the precedent for them continuing on with stuff. Because 16, I think I mentioned this in the episode about, talking about the Final Fantasy 14 stuff, how 16 uses a lot of themes for the different primal/icons as motifs. It might be more of a trendsetter in that note, in that it's creating it's starting to form a consistency in what we should expect from the themes. Now, of course, as soon as Soken's not the composer, we can't expect like a Titan theme to sound like a Titan theme. We can't expect the Omega theme to always be, some form of escape. But at the very least, it does kind of start that trend. And the other things that it can pull from are largely circumstantial, because a lot of it is very uniquely positioned for that game, like who the villains are, what their focuses are. It's really more of a pulled from other games game and less of a trend-setting game, but I said less, even though I said more earlier. It's more focused on starting to continue trends from 14, but not setting them itself. Heavily derived or inspired. So yes, I do think that it is one of those titles versus one that demands setup. And that's not the worst thing. There are stuff in other Final Fantasy games that are purely derived or pulled from other things or improved on. And that is the legacy that they leave. For example, Final Fantasy V is probably the job system from the earlier games that's most iconic. I know some people will say tactics, but I think that's the one that really sets what the job system should be. But that was an evolution of what 3 did. So I think 16 might have more elements in that regard, where it's something that was done before, but it's doing them differently or in a way that's, replicatable for the future, and less about any particular one element that stands on its own. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, Mr. Happy. Wasn't ready for the second Mr. Almost skipped it. Did you like when Monk's GCD would change drastically during a fight, whether that be due to Grease Lightning Tornado Kick or the old Riddle of Fire GCD slow? On the Riddle of Fire, I didn't mind that because it made double weaving cleaner and your damage went up. So there was kind of like a feel of gameplay during your fastest moment where you could slow it down to pump out a harder punch. That I like. However, Greased Lightning was one of those things that was really more of a skill ceiling. When you could differentiate yourself and how well you understood the job by maintaining it even under high stress scenarios. And that I did like, but in terms of its actual function on a fight-to-fight basis, sometimes it was really frustrating. I hated playing Monk in UCOB, for example. It'd be like, I met Grease Lightning 3, and he's gone. Although a Tornado Kick, honestly, that felt perfectly okay. You just had to dump a Tornado Kick every time. When they talk about Viper and its change between fast dual blades or stronger twin blade hits, part of me wonders if they would bring back that mechanic of playing with GCD speed since it's been removed from Monk now. Designing a job from the ground up with that in mind could be interesting. Well, I mean, that is kind of what they're doing with Viper. I feel like they're both, there's just two different kind of gameplay feels that you have to try very hard to make work. Monk's Riddle of Fire never felt like a slow to me, because during the time that Riddle of Fire GCD was in place, I was often busy with everything else the job was asking me to do in that time. So they slowed down the GCD, but kept the pace, if that makes sense. And I think we're likely to see that with Viper, where just because your GCD is slower, it doesn't necessarily mean the pace of the job is slower while you're in that twin blade mode. It's going to be really interesting to see, because this could go very poorly, where you just have those moments where you're really fast and like that's the kind of job you vibe with, but the really slow parts, you don't really jive with. And then it could be the other way around, where you're someone who likes the big, slow hits, but you're not as big a fan of the kind of fast, slashy, you know, types of hits that I feel like you're just kind of cutting through paper and it's not really satisfying. So it could go really poorly, but I think it's going to lean more towards feeling like it's a faster paced job, even when you're in the Twin Blade. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, hope you're well. Hi. Same to you. There are currently 20 glamour plates available for use, which when coupled with the Link glamour plate to gear set option means you can have 20 distinct glams for all of the combat jobs, even if they share common gear. Given that we have 2 more combat jobs coming, it will no longer be possible to do this if you play all the jobs. The question is, when was the last time the system was updated, and do you think it will be updated? Yeah, they said they're always working on adding more glamour plates. They made mention of that in particular. They know that even if you could do the thing you would suggest, it's not enough. Like if they just added one more, or added, you know, whatever, if they added 2 more just to make up for the fact there's 2 new jobs, it wouldn't help. Like, it wouldn't change the fact that that's still not enough. Like, people want 25, 30, 40, 50. Like, people want as many of these as they can get, and they know that. So they are always working at adding to it, but it's always going to be a slow process as well. It's been a little while, but it happened this expansion. It'll happen next expansion, too. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. Actually, real quick before I answer this, there's a question above it that I skipped because I was going to lightning round it, asking if there's any more count-up VODs being uploaded to the VOD channel. I need to get another VOD uploader because I think my other one's just been really busy. The person who was volunteered to do it before. But I don't think there's anything else on my channel that was saved before I had somebody doing it for me. So the answer is technically no. But I'll play those games again at some point, and then those can go onto the channel. Like, I want to do New Game Minus for Final Fantasy XII. There just hasn't been a good time to do it as of late. As for what's in front of me, hi, again, I have a couple of questions. One, with the upcoming new level cap and item level, what older content do you expect to become soloable? Not very much. I'd have to really dive into it and see what's survivable alone and what's not, but less and less things are going to be soloable in terms of, like, new stuff. Because a lot of it just goes through tank and vuln. A lot of it is just instant kill if you don't have enough bodies. And I don't think it's going to be very much, in all honesty. 2, has there been any update on when the past PvP series rewards will be put back in the game? Nope. We're waiting on it. They said they weren't going to use FOMO, and it hasn't come back yet. And I'm waiting. Where is it, Square? Come on. Hello. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello. Hi. Hope all is well. You too. A 2-ish for 1. So I'll cut right to it. New race idea. Evilise Moogles. I don't want to play as those things. Need another small race added to the game. I don't agree. I don't really care, though, at the same time. So you do you. Let's see. Also, what race would you like to see added? Honestly, just give me Burmesians. I'm not even a Final Fantasy IX fan that much, but I think Burmesians would be cool. I'd like to have less. Here's the thing. I would technically like to have less humanoid-looking ones, but I think they're always going to have them, even if they come up with a better system of making the gear for the different frames. So yeah, Burmesians. That's what I'm going to go with. Hashtag with happy comes a Mr. Monday. Giggity. Hi, Haps. Hi. Hope 2024 has been treating you well. So far, so good. Same to you. The question is mostly dependent on how much you do Party Finder, but what's the worst type of PF raiders you've come across? Parse Lords. If you are a Parse Lord and you are joining a regular PF and you literally do not play to win, I hate you. Like, if you join a Barse group, I get it. You know, everyone should be playing in such a way that it's going to, you know, absolutely be the highest possible output. Everyone's expected to know their jobs on that level. If you join a generic, like, you know, first clear for the week PF, and you're like, man, my entire raid is missing half their health. I don't have any more OGCDs, and I don't know what my co-healer is doing right now. And you refuse to do anything about it. You refuse to drop that stone cast and just do something useful. I can't stand those people in the PF. It's just, bro, it doesn't matter. Everyone here is just trying to clear for the week. And maybe some of them don't deserve it. That's, to be honest, that's the other type, is the person who, like, cleared it in the PF once, but they never really learned it, and they just dragged through, and they're like, yeah, I did it. No, you didn't do it. You got dragged through it, and now you're making us drag you through it too. Go learn the rest of the fight. Yeah, so those two people. This one's fine. My favorite has to be that PF raider that wipes you to a... Oh my God, I hate this. When somebody wipes you a dozen times and then you cause a wipe and they go, bruh, oh my God, the 2 pulls in. When the person screws up the first 2 pulls, they have weakness, they get brink, and then before you pull the 3rd time, they go, so what's going on, God? It's depressing if you think about it. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi. Hope you're having a great day. It's a good one. I'll say that. Just wondering if there's any way to get old rewards from the PvP series. Listen, I'm going to include this in the video. I'll edit it in. But man, again, where is it, Square? You said you would come back. Where is it? Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Hashtag end.happy. Hey, Haps. Hi. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. I don't know if someone's already theorized this yet, but it popped into my head while watching your reactions to JP FanFest saying it's Alligans. Well, it's probably not Alligans, but that's the meme. Every time something happens with like technology, you go, Alligans. Doesn't look Alligan at all, to be honest. Think about the possibility the Alligans uploaded their consciousness to a virtual world before their demise. I mean, I've said that it's like a dystopian civilization that's literally nothing but consciousness. Like I've said this exact thing, that it's like a civilization, whether it be Alligans or not, that probably does not physically exist. It's all data. At the very least, that's what I expect. If that's not what all of Solution 9 is, that's what I expect the Arcadian is. Because an Arcadian is essentially like a fake rural paradise. So I'm wondering if maybe it's there. If not, people have suggested maybe they're ancients that somehow survived the Sundering or some kind like that, or Alligans. Or I kind of hope it's from not Alligans, but from another era that we haven't explored a lot in terms of lore. It would come before the Alligan era, which wiped out most of the history from before it. Let's see. It could have some Final Fantasy IX Terra vibes, even Dream Xanarkin. Yeah, the Arcadian literally has what looks like a Bavellan sigil from the Yevon church. Like I see it. I know some people see the Ultima symbol, but that's what I see. So yeah, I mean, this is my like go-to theory, is that it's some sort of uploaded consciousness, if not in the city, then in the Arcadian. Hashtag Mondays with the Happy Mister. Hello there, Happy Mister. Hello. Recently noticed that I haven't done my Alliance Beast Tribe quest for Heavensward, and I got reminded that Shadowbringers doesn't have one of these quests. Have they ever addressed to your knowledge, or is it something we might never get? Yeah, they said that there just wasn't a good reason to do it. A big reason is actually the Hero's Gauntlet dungeon, which sees basically all of the tribes come together to help you complete that dungeon so you can finish the Shadowbringers main quest before moving on to like all the Endwalker teasers from that point on. So they've said multiple times they just didn't think there was a good reason to actually do an Alliance tribe quest, but because of the feedback of people wishing there was one, they did one for Endwalker. So at least we got that. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello. Hi. Hope you're doing well. Same to you. Since we didn't get the pre-order info last FanFest in Tokyo, when do you think we will know? It'll be the next live letter, which I'm predicting will probably be like, I don't know, before March 15th, if I had to guess. I think they're going to wait till 7 Rebirth comes out before they do anything else for 14 news-wise, except for maybe like interview. Like I expect next week we'll probably have media interviews from Tokyo, because I don't think we've gotten them yet. And that's strange. I don't usually think they take like two and a half weeks before they come out. I feel like it's usually faster than that. But there almost certainly was a roundtable. There's been a roundtable like every other one. In fact, technically we could see it on Sunday. And when I say next week, by the way, it's currently Saturday is when I'm recording, so that's why I'm saying that. So I mean this week, technically. But we'll know for certain when we get a live letter date, which is hopefully soon. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hi. So with the talk of ultimates, I was wondering, do you think they will ever do a convocation ultimate where they take all the Ascians from the story and link them together with one big fight leading up to Zodiark? No, I don't. I know a lot of people want the fully combined Zodiark, the fully rejoined Zodiark as like sort of an example. But I don't think you'll ever get that. I think Zodiark will be a part of the Endwalker Ultimate. I think that's where you'll see Shinryu also. But I don't think that you'll ever get that. Now, keep in mind the Shadowbringers story Ultimate, which should be after Eden. I expect to have Emmett. I expect to have Elidibus, and I would not be surprised to see La Habrea make his appearance. I mean, La Habrea makes an appearance in the Emmett Selk encounter, in the Hades encounter. So I do expect the Shadowbringers Ultimate to include, you know, Titania, Innocence. Like, it actually makes sense. Those two are both Light Wardens, so it absolutely makes sense to have them both somehow get into that. And yeah, I fully expect them to be there, but not like a Zodiark final boss one, no. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, Haps. Hi. Hope you're doing well. You too. I'm back into your videos after I stopped playing 14 around 6.2. Well, welcome back. Won't be coming back to the game until maybe another year as I'm prioritizing life right now. That is always the right choice. My question is, should I pick up where I left off or just go back to start? Do not go back to the start. Especially because by the time you come back, we'll be in Dawn Trail. And not that Endwalker story won't be useful by then, but it's a whole new chapter for the most part. So there's no point in starting over and going back to the really old stuff when we're going forward. So no, I never recommend starting over. Just like if you ever want to go back and remind yourself of New Game Plus something, but don't start over just because you haven't played in a while. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hi. I've started 11 and finally gotten over the newbie hump. Oh, you're playing, oh boy. And I'm having a great time. My question is, now that I understand the game better, are there any tips to newbies you'd give? Also, I've been following the quicksand, it's not quicksand, but I know what you mean. 1 to 119 guide, which has been extremely helpful, but I was wondering if you know any deviations from it that might be worthwhile. No, it's pretty much on point. It's hard to recommend anything else except that, because that is just so comprehensive. And I know that sounds sarcastic, but it is very, very comprehensive and effective. It comes with the only other guide that I'd really recommend, which is Fantastic EXP and How to Find Them. That's in the 1 to 119 guide. There's a link to it. So no, I genuinely think that sticking as close to that guide as possible is everyone's best bet towards getting story done in Final Fantasy XI. That's just it. I don't want to confuse you with saying, oh yeah, check out this or that. No, that resource is, in my opinion, all you need. Any other little things I could tell you might distract from just doing it that way, which is the way I would recommend. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Ayo, Haps. Doing good? Doing good. I'm doing good. Hey, how you doing? I noticed that you've been playing Grand Blue Fantasy lately. Hey, I'm wondering if you had played the fighting game versus Rising. No, I have not. In fact, I've only ever seen a handful of pieces of footage for it, including one of Jita when I was looking up the characters. I was looking up who Jita was specifically because I knew she was the female protagonist. No, I haven't really kept up with too much fighting. The only fighting game I've caught in recent time is occasionally Tekken. And I haven't even watched any Tekken 8 yet. Because Tekken shows up on my recommended bar on Twitch all the time. And it's so much fun to watch. It's so easy to follow, so easy to understand, even if you've never played Tekken before. And I have played Tekken before. I played like the early Tekkens a lot. Not that I was good at them, but I played them. I played Virtua Fighter too. Wasn't good at that either. But no, I haven't really touched versus Rising. Just haven't made time to watch a lot of fighting game stuff. Hashtag too many Mondays, still Dawn Trail with Mr. Happy. What a title. Ayo, I hope the week has gone by with relatively little chaos so far. Yeah, it's a little bit of chaos, but you know, we're getting that another time. 2 questions. 1, as I plan on playing Viper in the first tier of DT or for Fru. God, I forgot that's, you know. I mean, yeah, that's what we're calling it. I've been wondering how one optimizes their burst. I've gotten Dark Knight's Opener Mastered, but it feels like it's got its burst like 50% optimized. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're not someone who figures out what 2-minute windows look like by like actually calculating out potency per minute and how everything aligns, then you wait for somebody else to do it and just practice what they tell you to do. That's the truth. I mean, it's the same thing you did with Dark Knight Opener. You just keep practicing it over and over again, repetition. And number 2, I was made aware that the 2-minute meta wasn't always a thing. How did burst work prior to that? Essentially, there were just a ton of different cooldowns for different skills, and some of them lined up at 30 seconds, some of them lined up at 60, some of them lined up at 90, 120, 150. You had 3-minute cooldowns, 2-minute cooldowns, 90-second cooldowns, 30-second cooldowns. So essentially every 30 seconds, if you missed a burst window because you were dead or like there was just some sort of like really, really bad mechanic that was stopping you from being optimal, you hop in on the next cooldown rotation 30 seconds later. Now, obviously for like basic skills, like, oh, I do 300 potency and it's got a 30-second cooldown, you generally just want to use those. Like if those fall out of alignment, you can maybe fix them if there's like enough possible mistakes. But the idea was just that you would hop in on burst windows whenever they were available. And some were better than others. And you could do things like, move your stuff around to make sure that it fit different compositions better. But essentially, you just weren't strictly screwed if you missed the 2 minutes. And that's why I want that back, because I feel like that's been way worse for everyone than having this higher understanding, higher skill ceiling, but lower skill floor option, because there's no way to fix it because it's so rigid. Hashtag Mrhappy, Hister Hondays. Well, that's really weird to say. Buenos dias, guten tag, daji hao, and howdy, howdy for folks across the world. Hi, long-time watcher, first-time asker, and I hope you're having a decent day. Also, I love your Brewster shirt. Funny thing, my emote artist on Twitch got that for me for Christmas or / my birthday, and it was great. Shorter lightning pair of questions here, but what are your mains for each job category? So like melee, ranged. All right, so melee, monk, ranged, dancer, magic, black mage, tank, warrior, but I actually like paladin more, just warrior's dead brain, so I play that instead, and healer, sage. And what's your favorite or generally preferred class? Fantasy. Punch, 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 punch. Hello, hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Welcome. How are you? I'm good. How are cats? Not annoying me anymore. How are the gains? Fantastic. Quick question. I know you're, well, that was 3 questions. You got another one? That's greedy. Anyway, I know you're of the opinion that positionals are going, but given the adjustments we got in Endwalker patches, do you think these are going by DT or after? DT. 100%. Bard's going to have 1 dot. Positionals are going to be gone. There's no hope. Give up. Okay, there's hope, but give up anyway. Hashtag MHM. I like it. Hey, Haps. Hi. How's it going? It's going all right. Quick question for you. Sure. Does Dawn Trail give any Seekers of Adolin vibes to you? No. I don't know. On a surface level, it feels like that to me. Oh, and I can't seem to find your Discord for the 11 stuff. I'll include it in the link. Let me make a note because I say that in the video and it's not going to be there. I guarantee you I'm going to forget to do it on Monday. No, treasures, big time treasures vibes but that's because of the mammal jaw. Like they kind of just dominate the visuals a lot because there's so many of them, and with Galul and whatnot. No, I get way more treasures of Ottergon vibes than Seekers of Adolin. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, what's good? Hey, do you think 7 Ever Crisis will come to consoles now there's a Steam version? Seemed like a strange decision to leave out PlayStation. It is. You're right. I don't want to say yeah, because I feel like they're going to struggle to get it on console. I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying like it's going to be difficult from like a development standpoint or like they're going to have a hard time getting it approved. But like, I can't help but feel like the answer is going to be no. I don't think they'll ever do. I think it was a miracle they had it on Steam, even though they really needed to. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but I don't think so. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, oh there, Happy. I hope you're doing well. Same to you. Let's make some folks mad today. What are your Final Fantasy 14 hot takes? I don't know. I feel like I'm fairly level-headed most of the time because I'm very pragmatic. I look at the pros and cons of everything, and anytime I weigh an opinion, it's normally like, I don't like, okay, the only thing I can think of, and it's something I say because I think of the whole picture, is that Heavensward's the worst expansion. Everyone who says it's the best expansion is literally only talking about the story. I'm the person who did all the content, and it was terrible. Like Gordius, yeah, it was cool if you were part of the 1% of raiders who could get past A3S. Midas was cool if you were part of the 1% of raiders that could even get past A6. They had to nerf it, and it was bugged. It was awful. Diadem, they tried 3 times, failed every time during that expansion. We had massive lulls in content, one of the worst relic weapons, even worse than the books as far as I'm concerned, on content, even if going back to it now, it's there. And like, then you had some trials that were good. I like the trials, but trials don't make the whole expansion. And yeah, there was the Aquapolis. That was cool. But like, it's a pretty bad expansion. That's the hot take. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi. First time asker. Welcome. Non-related 14 question. Do you play Honkai Star Rail? I like how you just call it Honkai Rail. So who are your favorite characters? No, so I really want to, but I just can't bring myself to commit hard to playing it. Here's the thing. If I play Honkai Star Rail, I'm streaming the entire story. I have to put away a lot of time for that. There's so many releases, plus things I'm actually doing in 14, that I cannot do that. Because when I do it, I'm going to want to do it for like hours and hours and hours. It's not going to be like, oh, I'll do this for 2 hours a day. No, I'm going to play it a lot. So that's the only reason why not. Because I think I've played it a bit and I really enjoyed it. And I played Genshin a lot. And this is just kind of like a better game for me than Genshin because I like the turn-based bit. But I don't know when and if I'll get around to it. Maybe at some point. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Haps. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. Regarding the question last week about Grand Blue Relink, I have forgotten what it was, so hopefully there's a reminder. Have you heard of the critically acclaimed fighting game Grand Blue? I like it. I like the adaptation. Here's the actual question. Did you ever end up trying Rising? No, I answered that earlier. But I kind of want to. I do want to play. I just want to play the RPG mode though. I don't really want to play much more than that. But it looks good. I've seen only a little bit of it. Like I said, I saw Jita, but no, I haven't gotten around to that. Hashtag Swole Days with Mr. Happy. Hey Haps, how's Gains? Gains good. Softball question here for you. What's your most and least favorite weapon and monster in Monster Hunter? Favorite is the hammer. Least favorite. It's really hard to pick a least favorite because I like the hammer. I like hammer and sword and shield a lot. You know what? It's dual blades. I hate dual blades because they always. I'm a hammer user and they come to the head every time, and I have to slot to make sure they can't trip me nonstop. Because go to the tail. Just go to the tail. Leave me alone. I'm bonking the head. Get out of here. Get out of here right now. And for least favorite and most favorite monster, most favorite, I think, is probably going to be Rajang, and my least favorite, Zora Magdaros. I hate that guy. And I think this is actually the last question. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, hello, and well met. I hope your week went well. Same to you. I have a question about giving feedback about the game. I know you've said the forums are the best place to submit feedback, but I'm nervous about putting my thoughts and concerns out to the public. Are there any discreet ways to provide feedback? Not really. No. I hate for that to be the answer, but I don't think, you know what? They do have a support site where I think you can actually send in feedback. Like, I think that is one of the options on the support. I'd have to double check. I might be misremembering, but that's the only place I could think of. And only if there is a feedback option. Do not just use the support system to put feedback in there. But if that's not there, then the answer is no. But anyway, that is going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Again, be sure to check out the other channel and the Grand Blue content I'll be posting there this week, and be on the lookout for a couple of things. Another video I want to do is to go on the official forums and see how they reacted to the Dawn Trail news, because I haven't done that in a while. In fact, maybe I'll do that tonight. I could put that out on Tuesday and then maybe put the other video out later, because yeah, we'll see. I might work on both those videos tonight. I'm feeling it. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see all of you in next week's Q&A. And until then, I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.